The afternoon sun filtered through the rows of trees, casting a golden glow over the meticulously arranged outdoor wedding. White chairs stood in neat lines, banquet tables sparkled with crystal accents. Everything seemed perfectly set for an elegant ceremony until a shrill scream tore through the air. Clarissa Monroe, a notoriously cantankerous neighbor from Brookhaven Street, strode forward, yanking a pure white bouquet from the hands of the 8-year-old flower girl. Without a word, she hurled it straight into the gutter, her eyes glittering with disdain. "Get this trash off my street before I call the police!" Her voice landed like a hammer blow with each word. Glass shattered in a sharp crash as Clarissa flipped an entire champagne table foam, spilling over the stone-paved road. 60 guests froze, some with hands over their mouths, others clutching their children tightly. Under the floral arch, Groom Jordan Ellis clenched his jaw to maintain composure. Beside him, bride Leona adjusted her gown, her eyes uncertain. "You think you can turn this place into a ghetto?" "Not while I'm here," Clarissa barked, pointing directly at the couple. Jordan's fingers brushed the silver cufflink on his sleeve, the light catching a small emblem of the city. He didn't respond immediately, but those nearby could feel it. A storm was gathering behind his calm demeanor. The crowd didn't yet know it, but this moment would ignite a chain of events that would reshape the Brookhaven community and turn a couple's wedding day into the epicenter of an unprecedented confrontation. Clarissa whipped out her phone and dialed 911 with the speed of someone who had rehearsed it. Her voice shifted into a performative urgency. "There's an illegal gathering at 425 Brookhaven Drive. Loud music, open alcohol. I suspect drugs. A bunch of people who don't belong here." The dispatcher's tone stayed even. "Ma'am, can you describe the situation more specifically?" Clarissa paced in front of the entryway, eyes narrowed at the wedding tables like she was inspecting for faults. "I pay $9,000 a year in taxes for peace and quiet, not for some ghetto wedding to destroy our community standards." Jordan, still composed, stepped slowly toward her, his hands visible. "Ma'am, perhaps we can resolve this peacefully." "Don't you lecture me!" Clarissa spun on him, jabbing her finger toward his face. She then opened the neighborhood social media app, Brookhaven Watch, and started live streaming to 56 followers. "Emergency at Brookhaven. I'm protecting our neighborhood from them." Comments rolled in, "Call the HOA, property values will tank." At the dessert table, 17-year-old Maya Leona's niece secretly went live on Instagram. "You guys need to see this. Our neighbor's losing it at my aunt's wedding." Viewers jumped from 19, 42, 75, climbing fast. Clarissa's police radio feed crackled through her phone unit. 14 disturbance call at 425 Brookhaven Drive. ETA 10 minutes. She smirked. "Hear that? 10 minutes and this party is over." Jordan quietly pulled a document case from inside his suit and placed it within her view. "Ma'am, everything here is fully permitted." Clarissa snatched it, skimmed, and laughed mockingly. "Permitted by who?" "Your relatives at City Hall." "This looks like a bad prop." The faint clink of glass came from the catering station as staff worked on, determined to maintain professionalism. Clarissa stabbed her finger toward them, her voice piercing. "Show me your residency cards. I'm gathering evidence for my case." Cameras closed in from every angle, neighbors' doorbell cams, guests' phones, and Maya's live stream, all capturing every movement, every word. A tall figure stepped forward, Lieutenant Marcus Dean Groomsman, and longtime friend of Jordan. His navy dress uniform gleamed with service medals, cutting a solemn figure in the chaos. Clarissa, however, was too absorbed to notice his military bearing. Jordan tried again, his voice warm but firm. "Mrs. Clarissa, we've lived here 3 years. In fact, we've met. I don't care where you think you live. She snapped her pitch so sharp that children covered their ears. She typed furiously in the neighborhood group chat emergency at Brookhaven. Need witnesses now. Within minutes, 3 neighbors arrived. Mrs. Lawrence carried a file of community code violations. Mr. Patel brought a decibel meter, and teens across the street switched to filming TikToks under hashtag #BrookhavenWedding. Clarissa swept her arm at the wedding, blocked driveway's noise, public drinking. Tell your kids this isn't low-income housing. Beside Jordan, his young nephew Ben tugged at his sleeve. Uncle, why does she hate our family? Jordan knelt, a sad smile on his face. Sometimes, people confuse what truly makes a community strong. Before the words could settle, Clarissa spun back. Don't brainwash him with your victim mentality. This is about standards and property values. The sound of sirens grew steadily louder, weaving between the hushed murmurs and the soft background music from the string quartet. All of Brookhaven seemed to hold its breath. 2 patrol cars turned onto the street, red and blue lights flashing through tree branches and glinting off the crystal glassware. Clarissa immediately strode toward them as if she'd found her cavalry phone raised high. Thank God you're here. They've been disturbing the neighborhood for hours. Noise blocking the road, drinking it's like a marketplace out here. Officer Ramirez. His hair streaked with silver from over 2 decades of service scanned the scene. Pristine white linens, fresh flowers, polite servers, a classical quartet. Nothing resembled the chaos she'd described. Officer Lee tilted his head. Ma'am, this clearly looks like a private wedding ceremony. Can you tell us exactly what the issue is? Clarissa quickly angled her phone so her live stream, now over 300 viewers, could hear her clearly. Look at this! They've turned our peaceful residential street into a block party. Across the way, Maya's live stream hit 800 viewers. Comments flooded in. This woman's lost it. Poor bride and groom. Someone stop her already. The hashtag #Brookhaven. Wedding began appearing on other videos. Clarissa pulled out pre-printed documents. According to Section 14.3 of the HOA rules, any gathering over 20 people must be pre-approved. Jordan stepped forward. Hands open. Voice calm. Officers. I apologize for the misunderstanding. Everything was approved by the city. Clarissa snatched the permit back, scoffing, this pretty good for a fake. Ramirez and Lee exchanged a glance before one quietly stepped aside to speak into his radio. Their eyes toward Jordan began to shift, though Clarissa remained oblivious to the undercurrent building against her. Ramirez held up the decibel meter and read aloud. 62 decibels, well within the legal limit for weekends. Lee nodded in confirmation, but Clarissa's face flushed crimson as she snapped. Since when do these people get to decide what's legal in our neighborhood? Her words cracked like a whip across the air. A few guests gasped. Those filming angled their phones to capture every syllable. Online comments erupted. Did she really just say that screenshot now? It's 2024 for crying out loud. Jordan stayed still, though his hand tightened at his side. Beside him, Reverend Allen, his uncle, rested a hand on his shoulder, a silent reminder to stay composed. It was their wedding day, yet a darker storm clouded the joy. 2 more patrol cars pulled up, bringing Sergeant Howard, familiar with Jordan from community projects. He quickly assessed the scene and quietly asked Ramirez, "What's going on?" Ramirez replied, "Noise complaint, but everything's within the rules." Clarissa overheard and shot forward like a spring. "Within the rules, look around. This is a breeding ground for crime, drugs, gangs, illegal immigrants, you name it. It's here." Her accusations flew like blind arrows laced with desperation and malice. And in that moment, the flashing lights caught Jordan's face, foreshadowing the dramatic turn about to come. The low rumble of an engine grew louder. A white van bearing the Channel 5 News logo turned onto Brookhaven Drive, followed by 2 more local news vehicles. Doors flew open as reporter Ava Kim and her crew jumped out, scanning the scene like they'd found a headline gold mine. Clarissa smoothed her hair, straightened her designer blouse, and rushed toward the cameras. Finally, the press is here to tell the truth. They've invaded our community, destroying the peace we've paid dearly for. She gestured dramatically toward the wedding setup. The lens swept over rows of white chairs, the string quartet still playing, and Leona's worried face surrounded by friends. Jordan stood a few steps away, watching like a man calculating his next move. Meanwhile, online activity exploded. Maya's live stream crossed 500 viewers. The teen's TikTok from across the street went viral under hashtag Brookhaven wedding. Comments poured in. This is everywhere. Poor couple, she's Karen level extreme. Neighbors recorded clips from every angle, stitching together an impromptu live news feed on Facebook that reached far beyond anyone who'd ever set foot in Brookhaven. Jordan glanced at his watch, 4:12 p.m., just 3 minutes until the ceremony. He inhaled deeply, adjusted his cufflinks, the silver catching a faint city insignia. No one knew that in moments everything would flip and leave a mark no one present would forget. The air was taut as wire. Clarissa stood firmly in front of the floral arch, arms crossed, gaze defiant. No one is going anywhere until this is resolved. This is my neighborhood, and I'll protect it. Officer Ramirez stepped forward. Ma'am, you're obstructing a legally permitted event. I'm protecting this community from intrusion, she said slowly, making sure the cameras caught every word. The phrase landed in heavy silence, fuel for social media's fire. Phones lit up as people screenshotted and shared. The hashtag Brookhaven. Karen surged with thousands of interactions. Jordan stepped forward, his pace steady. His voice was low but carried, I think there's been a very fundamental misunderstanding. He removed his suit jacket, revealing a crisp white shirt embroidered with a small, intricate city emblem in silver. The late sunlight glinted off every thread. Folding his jacket neatly, he reached into his inner pocket and drew out a leather wallet. Every movement was deliberate. He produced a special ID card and handed it to Officer Ramirez. Good afternoon, officers. I'm Jordan Ellis, mayor of Brookhaven. It was like lightning struck. Ramirez immediately straightened. Lee adjusted his stance. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Clarissa stepped back half a pace, clutching her phone. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. On the live stream, comments exploded. She called the cops on the mayor's wedding. Best plot twist of the year. The crowd fell silent except for the faint quartet music. Clarissa swallowed hard, struggling to find her voice. Mayor, no. That's impossible. You live here. Jordan nodded. Voice calm yet firm. I live at 417, 2 doors down from you. We've greeted at the mailbox, and last winter I carried your groceries. She blinked as the memory of his polite smile and steady hands carrying her bags came back, leaving her momentarily speechless. The cameras pivoted. Channel 5's Ava. Kim stepped closer. Mr. Mayor, we had no idea this was your wedding. Would you like to make a statement? Jordan turned directly to the lens. We just wanted a peaceful, lawful ceremony. But perhaps today is a good time to remind everyone about the community standards we all must uphold, especially those with contracts with the city. A wave of murmurs spread. Clarissa stiffened, catching the implication. Her landscaping company, Monroe Landscaping, held millions in city contracts. Jordan pulled a tablet from the wedding coordinator's bag and opened section 12.3.7 of the contractor agreement. Vendors must respect the community and behave professionally in all interactions. Any discriminatory or harassing conduct will result in review or termination of contracts. Clarissa's grip on her phone tightened as if each word was chipping away at her foundation. Maya's live stream surpassed 2,000 viewers. Comments filled the screen. "Karma's here." "She's finished." Jordan's eyes gleamed in the sunlight. Today we'll all witness how a community responds when its values are challenged with justice and transparency. Brookhaven Drive froze in place. Clarissa forced a stiff smile, her voice trembling but clinging to a lifeline. "Mr. Mayor, I think this is a misunderstanding. I never meant to discriminate. I was just concerned about property values and safety." Jordan's gaze didn't waver, his voice even, but weighted. "Mrs. Monroe, what you said about these people, about intrusion, was recorded from at least 17 different sources and broadcast to over 15,000 people. This is no longer a misunderstanding. It's evidence." She swallowed, frantically scrolling to delete negative comments, but the flood was too much. Within 20 minutes, Monroe Landscaping's Google rating plummeted to 1.3 stars, with hundreds of new reviews titled racist and unprofessional. Channel 5's cameras panned to the crowd, capturing the averted eyes of neighbors who had stood with her earlier. Mrs. Lawrence slipped back inside. Mr. Patel quietly switched off his decibel meter and turned away. Jordan swiped to a new page on the tablet. City Park maintenance, $870,000. Sports field upkeep, $1.2 million. Winter festival decor, $95,000. That's $2.165 million from taxpayer funds. Are you sure you want all of it reviewed because of today's actions? On the live stream, a highlighted comment read, "She just ended her career live." Clarissa felt the ground shifting beneath her. This wasn't protecting the community anymore. It was her becoming the living proof of the cost of prejudice. Jordan adjusted the microphone, sweeping his gaze over the crowd and cameras. "Given the evidence recorded today, I, Mayor of Brookhaven, am formally requesting a public city council hearing next week to consider suspending and terminating all Monroe Landscaping contracts. This hearing will be open for all residents to attend and speak." Cheers erupted, some clapping, others chanting support. Phones and cameras shot upward to capture it all. In the distance, a group of students with signs reading "Brookhaven for Justice" marched closer, their chants merging with the wind. Clarissa tried to interject. "But Mr. Mayor, I've served this city for 2 decades. We've provided jobs, maintained parks, kept the winter festival bright. You'd erase all that over one afternoon and a few words." Jordan replied without blinking. "No one erases what you've done. But you erased your own credibility today. This is accountability, not revenge." A reporter asked, "Are you concerned this sets a precedent that might scare other contractors away from working with the city?" Jordan's answer was crisp, eyes locked on the camera. The only thing contractors should fear is losing their contracts when they disrespect our residents. On the live stream share and like icons blinked endlessly. Brookhaven. For all and #no place. For hate shot to the top of local trends. Clarissa, ringed by lenses, could feel the city turning away from her and the hearing looming like a verdict already written. That morning, Brookhaven City Hall overflowed. From the stone steps outside to the polished wooden hallways, every inch was packed. Residents, reporters, students, and witnesses from that fateful afternoon. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, highlighting tense faces. Clarissa Monroe entered in an elegant teal dress, hair perfectly curled. Her chin was high, but her eyes flickered over rows of cold stares. Beside her, her lawyer murmured something to which she only gave a mechanical nod. At the hearing table, Mayor Jordan sat at the center, flanked by city council members. Beside the clerk's desk, a large screen stood ready to play the unedited footage from the wedding. The gavel struck 3 times. "This hearing will now come to order," the chair announced. "The council will hear testimony, review evidence, and decide on the Monroe landscaping contracts. The first evidence, the raw video." Clarissa's voice commanding staff to remove that woman echoed through the chamber. When it ended, the room fell silent except for the reporter's keyboards clattering. Witnesses followed one elderly man recalling being denied service at her store. A young mother tearing up as she described the contemptuous look she'd received at the winter festival. Clarissa gripped her chair's armrest, lips pressed thin. For the first time in her career, she realized no title could shield her from the eyes of a community demanding justice. The gavel's crack was like thunder. The City Council hereby terminates all contracts with Monroe Landscaping, effective immediately. The company is barred from public projects for 10 years. All violation records will be referred to the district attorney's office. The last sentence hit like a blow. The chamber erupted cheers, applause, even tears. Naomi stood silently clutching an old wool scarf. She didn't speak, only lifted her face to the window's light, a small, radiant smile breaking through. The smile of someone once invisible, now recognized as a symbol of resilience. Across the room, Clarissa's lips trembled. Camera flashes burst not to honor her, but to capture the fall of a queen. As police approached, the snap of handcuffs was sharp and final. Outside, hundreds waited. As Naomi stepped out, a white girl of about 8 ran to her, offering a sunflower. "Thank you for making this place fairer for me." The cameras caught it all. The clips spread across social media. Brookhaven. For all soared to the #1 local trend in hours. A month later, the park where it all began reopened. No fences, no VIP, only signs. At the center stood a new plaque. "This place belongs to everyone, dedicated to those who stand up when what's right is under threat." Naomi rested her hand on it and closed her eyes. This time her tears were not for pain, but for the triumph of the human spirit.